So Merian Genti, the most Queens playmakers already played for the Zim under-17s and under-20s just at the age of 15. But how technically sound is she? Today, let's take a look. So in terms of her actual goal threat, Genti can actually strike the ball from range. Considering that she has a small frame, she picks, as you see there, dribbles slightly and picks a spot. She's very accurate in terms of where she places the ball, and actually from the eye test, we see how composed and calm she is generally. There in the next clip, you see her in the penalty area. The ball is flighted in, she turns and she lets loose with her right. Powerful goal. Again, now in the next clip, you see a similar situation. The ball falls to her again and she picks a spot in the penalty area. Now she does have these finishes which are outside the box, but predominantly you are going to see her finishing closer to goal, closing down and letting loose. The next clip, similar situation. I think in this game she actually got a brace. This was against Harare City Queens. In the next clip, she's also drifting into the penalty box off the left flank. One-time finish. She's accurate like that, and although she plays as a number 10, I think even if she's converted and she's in number 9, as you see her bearing down on goal there, not converting this time, keeping was better, but she can play as a 9. Now in this opening clip, we see Merian actually run into the penalty area there. This is off a set piece. She positions herself more centrally, like a center forward, so to speak. She moves around, she finds a space and she converts. Now, I would like to point out that she's still developing, and you see that she gets herself into these positions in the penalty area if she's not actually taking a set piece, and she has good technique, good movement, she can find space in the box. I think it's an area or aspect of a game that will improve as she physically develops, but clearly you can see that she has an attacker's mindset and she tries to find space and she's trying to find those goals, so to speak. Now another key aspect of Genti's game is her ability to dribble and control the ball. In frame, you see her there, she's got the ball, she's under the challenge of 2 markers but still manages to get it away. In the next clip, you see her again, she's under pressure but she actually beats that press and gets away, moves and makes the pass. It's important to note actually she rides tackles and is able to continue. Most strikers or even midfielders don't have this ability, or they kind of struggle with it. The next clip, you kind of have Genti in the center of play, actually evades 2 players, markers, and plays it back from that central position. In this clip, she's more in an offensive position. She gets control of the ball, turns away from the marker, pushes the ball back centrally, and progresses the attack. The important thing here is we don't really have stats to go by, but in terms of the eye test, you see her pass completion is incredible. There she did another little turn and a secured position. In this clip, she's more in the center of the park again. She gets possession, turns away from a marker and plays through a pass. Her combination play, her ball retention when she dribbles is immaculate. In this current play, you see Genti is under pressure. There in the half space, she still manages to get the pass out. Like I said, she keeps on her feet. She actually manages to beat the press. So in this play, Genti actually tries to pass to herself, a little turn of pace. It's something that's in a trick book. I think she has the confidence you generally have of an attacking midfielder. In this clip here though, she has a bit of a turnover. She doesn't always win. We have to balance out instances. In this current play, you see there she tries to move, couldn't get the ball out from under her feet. It's a turnover. In this current clip, you see she's a bit further upfield. She tries to make inroads into the penalty area. There's a bit too much pressure. But clearly you see that she goes in fighting. She does make sure that she's there at least. And most of these plays you see now, she's in the back helping to defend, which is a good mindset for your midfielder. So in this opening clip, you see Genti finds space there and she actually runs. Though the pass is not made to her, you see that she has the intellect to see that there can be space and possibly draw markers. In the next clip, you see her in a central position awaiting a cross. It doesn't get through initially there, but at least you see that she gets into those positions. She has an offensive mindset and she's able to run with the attack. In this play, she actually remained up top and actually got on to the end of a ball. Unfortunately, she couldn't convert. There was too much pressure though. So generally, as a roaming number 10, she's all over the field. In this clip, you see her starting out in the middle of the park there. She gets possession. And if you check out, you see actually how she just does a little turn and does an offlay and runs into space. She can see that there's traffic ahead of her. She's got that IQ to be able to do that. There, she continues the run and goes down the flank. Unfortunately, she got closed. So building on that light build and the IQ, she's constantly able to run in behind midfield or defense. You see in this clip, she runs into space and exploits it. She makes movement along there, the flank, and she has a good crossing ability. She makes a cross. So Genti has these aesthetic touches of the ball actually in play as they are moving and progressing in attack. I believe that's actually a very talent intensive thing. You see the ball control she does there, the ability to keep the attack going, not to lose time, so to speak. I believe that's one of her key things that make her unique. So besides off the ball movement, Genti actually links up very well. Like when she transitions, she gets a hold of the ball and she does these little quick exchanges or throw passes. These are the little passes that just keep the game going, not exactly those killer passes, but those passes that make sure that you retain the ball. As you see in this clip, it's just those 1-2 little exchanges in the middle of the park. They actually win a set piece off it. In the next clip, you see again a little thread through. Those are just the utilities, the basics. Essentially, she's good for possession-based sides because the pass accuracy is very much up there. There's no clear stats like in numbers, but the eye test clearly shows that she has a presence. So I believe Genti is good out of possession as much as in possession. You see in these clips where she's essentially pressing, trying to recover the ball. There she's actually man marking in this clip, trying to pressure and have her team get the ball back. Here she's more in a middle third, defensive third border speaking, so to speak, trying to just get the possession back, so to speak. She's got a lean frame where she's able to run the full 90 minutes. She's always active if you do an eye test even towards the end of the game, trying to press, trying to recover the ball, trying to turn situations to their advantage, so to speak. In the next clip, you see her actually running down the ball and trying to recover it, trying to make sure that the opposition doesn't get a goal kick. She doesn't succeed though there in this clip. So in addition to playing these little basic textbook passes, Genti also does the proper passes, so to speak, the key pass or the pass before the assist. They usually weights them nicely. She has a vision and she plays like a number 10 properly. In this clip, she's more on the flank, actually dueling or trying to fend off two defenders, and she actually gets off a nice pass back in play, so to speak. Now in this play, Genti is more or less on the edge of the box. She's surrounded. She actually reads pressure and does a little layoff for the assist that comes in. Now there in this play, Genti is again in possession. You see her, one touch, through pass to the flank, creates an offensive situation. In the current clip, she's a bit more central. She receives possession again in those number 10 typical areas, does a little layoff to the flank, continues the run. She could sense that there was too much pressure. Now in this current play, she plays a little dink over the top and that's an assist. She makes it look so easy, yet it requires such great football IQ, I think. This current play, she's dropped a bit deep. There she brings the ball under control and she progresses the attack, so to speak. Nice little transition, perfectly weighted. The next play, you see her again transitioning from her own defensive position, so to speak. Nice little thread through. So I've looked at the little utility passes in the middle of the park as well as the key passes. In the next play, we take a look at her in the middle of the block there. She beats a marker and the idea is to switch play or find someone in the center. Execution was a bit poor here. But in this next play, you see her there. She gets possession. She's aware the marker is there. She turns and she brings the ball in field. This time, the outcome is a bit better. In the next play, you see her there again in frame. She gets it. She's a bit further out and she's relieving a defensive position. In this current play, there she's in frame. She receives the ball. It's transition to attack again. Not exactly the best outcome, but yeah, you can see that with time, as she physically develops, she'll be better. Now, the next aspect of Genti's game is actually her shielding. In this frame, you see that there she's under a bit of pressure and she gets ahead of the defender, so to speak, and she comes out with the ball. I think the eye test is going to show that she does have heart. You see in this current play, she's actually there lined up to receive the ball. She's under a marker. She comes up and she does the successful offload. 2 times actually in a row. Now in the next play, you see more or less on the flank. She's under defensive pressure there. She's trying to progress the ball. Actually one defender goes to ground. She tries to get the cross off, but 3 is too much. But you can clearly see that she is hard. Now those are the times when she was succeeding, right? See in this play, one touch. You can see that when she's body checked, she does have a bit of give because she's relatively small. As we're speaking currently, she's actually in recovery from an injury there, so to speak. There, you see actually in play again, gets under the ball. There is a turnover. There's a bit too much power, so to speak, placed, but she's contesting. She's dueling. She's trying to put her body in there. She's clearly struggling at times, but she's going to grow into her body, and I believe she'll be a better all-rounded number 10. In this play, you see there was no penalty. It was judged to be 50-50. She's smaller. She gets the shorter end of the stick. In this play, you see that she comes into possession or she runs onto a ball. Initially, she wins a draw. The marker comes back. They exert themselves a bit more. I believe this was against Harare City there. Clearly, from the eye test, it shows that she's still to improve. Now, I already mentioned that there has to be some physical development, but if we take a look at Merian's aerial capability, you see there when she made a conversion for that goal, she clearly has heart to be able to jump up and challenge for balls. Now, in open play, it's the same situation, surprisingly. She's going to grow taller, but currently, even at her own height, she's winning duels. She's actually very athletic. You see the little run-up in this play. She gets to the ball first off that throw and progresses the attack. The technical ability she has there is actually very much commendable. That's why I was saying, even as a number 9 or number 10, she's good like that. You see her doing that little flick on in that clip. In the next clip, it's more or less the same play. Little flick on, progressing the attack. Now, in this current play, she doesn't win possession, but there she jumped up. In the next clip, you see she's more in the back line, and again, she's not afraid to put her hair where it could potentially hurt. So generally, Merian can actually do a decent pass, so we expect that at least even her crossing is to par. You see, in the eye test is going to show that. Don't have too many stats to go on, so to speak, but you can clearly see she makes use of her right foot. She comes through and she makes sure that she sets up teammates. Having gotten herself in good positions for the most part, whether it's far out, like in a progressive run when she's static in this play, she's far out there at the edge and she tries to bring the ball back in. Successful. In the next clip, you see again, this time she was under a bit more pressure, but still she tried to give service. You can clearly see that she does get onto the flanks. She's a threat like that, and if you have good players in the air, you can have conversions of headers and sometimes even ground finishes. Here in this clip, she's on the right, perfectly flighted ball to be able to cause a few situations in the penalty box. So there will be miscues here and there, but generally the eye test shows that she's good at crossing. She's good like that in a team. So another aspect of her game is that she's able to take these set pieces, in particular corners. Off her right foot, you see her there on the other side of the item, she strikes in an in-swinger off her right. In the next clip, you see again it's a similar situation, a dead ball, she comes through, she brings it in, flights them properly, they've got enough spin on them and enough turn. On the left though, I've seen that sometimes they tend to want to take shorter ones because I believe her left foot is a bit weaker than her right, so to speak. So Merian also takes the dead balls. In this current clip you see there, she comes through and she's the one who actually takes this free kick. Her technique could also improve as she grows too. She could have more power behind it. This was an easy catch for the keeper. Here she had to bring something in off the left flank there. It wasn't a direct effort, but more supply for the central offensive positions. Now, I've already touched on her defensive contributions, but I wanted to make a note that, let's say for instance in set pieces, she takes them, and in this play you see she goes and stands literally just there to give her own defense time to organize. She has IQ, a footballer's IQ like that. Then she runs back to be able to defend, yes, but after she delayed the quick taking of the set piece. So in the next clip, Merian is on the far post doing a bit of defensive work. Unfortunately, she couldn't be a bit up top. This was converted, but not where her line of action was. But she's clearly making defensive contributions. Also touching briefly on the tackling, I think it's relatively clean. You see she presses, and it's more like she's not lunging in. She's more like just containing. There you see in this play, she goes in, pressurizes, more like a supporting marker. I believe it's because for the most part she's a bit smaller, and she does try to stay clear of very physical situations like in this play there. You saw that she did come off a bit wasteful, but I think she'll grow into a body, and that aspect of her game will improve. Technically assessed Merian Genti, I had to bring up that she actually has trials with the Danish club playing in the Champions League. Hopefully she gets picked up there, and we hopefully see her graduate to the women's senior team. Till the next one, guys, I'm out.